we are honored to have Ovalbek Turdakun, who is also known as Joseph, here with us today. While ethnically Kyrgyz, he's originally from Xinjiang. In February 2018, he was arrested from his home in front of his wife and son and incarcerated without just cause and due process in a training center, where he remained for 10 months. He finally escaped by traveling to Turkey on a tourist visa from Kyrgyzstan, where he was located at the time. He is the first Christian detained in the camps to escape and testify publicly about his experience. Alongside his wife and son, he landed safely in the United States on April 8th, 2022, and we are so grateful for his courage in being able to share his story.
大家下午好，
Good afternoon, everyone.
很高兴见到你们。
It is a pleasure to meet all of you.
我是来自新疆，
I'm from Xinjiang.
我名字叫 Ovalbek Turdakun，
My name is Ovalbek Turdakun.
在新疆集中教育的受害者。
And I'm a victim of the concentration camps in Xinjiang.
我原来是一个生意人，
I used to be a businessman.
我爱人因为是我爱人是吉尔吉斯斯坦人，
And my wife is from Kyrgyzstan.
我们就开始做外贸生意。
And we began to do business
哈萨克斯坦和吉尔吉斯斯坦，
in Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan
就卖家具。
to sell household items, furnitures.
后来，中央对新疆的政策的影响，我们的生意也受到了限制。
But because of policy changes in the Chinese government, our business became affected.
不能出去做生意，也不能出国。
We could no longer do business outside, and we can no longer go abroad.
但是还不错，我们就老家买了一套房子。
But we were doing pretty well that we were able to buy a house in my hometown.
后来我们发现，我们老家也慢慢建每500米一个警察的岗亭。
And we later discovered every 5 meters in our hometown there were guard posts.
这是16年的年底。
And this was at the end of 2016.
后来就它速度比较加得很快，就建了很多岗亭和集中教育中心。
And they later quickly quickened the process and began to build even more guard posts.
我的老家的一个小学和中学改成集中教育中心。
And an elementary school and a middle school in my hometown was reconstructed and turned into a concentration camps.
我也受到了限制，不能做生意。
And I was also restricted and couldn't do business.
然后就开始，我发现我老家的人一天比一天被抓教育中心。
And I discovered people one by one were taken into concentration camps in my hometown.
后来时间到2018年的时候，
And in 2018,
2月的10号，
in February,
早晨，政府派有些人员过来到我这家，
in the morning, the government sent officials to come and visit me at my house.
到医院去检查，然后把我送到当地的集中教育中心。
They took me for medical examination at the hospital and then sent me to the concentration camp.
这个过程就没有过任何的法律的程序，
There was no due process involved at all.
直接家里抓，直接到医院，然后到教育中心。
They arrested me at my house and then sent me to the hospital and then immediately to the concentration camp.
像我一样的就是无辜的人都是。
And all the other innocent people as well.
那个进去以后，就是周围全部都是，刚前面说了，就是海康卫视，所有的地方都是海康卫视监控。
And when I went in there, there were all high vision cameras all around.
里面是一个长长的过道， 左右全部都是一间一间的小小的房子。
It was a long corridor, and then there were small little hut houses around.
每一间都是5-6米长。
All of them were about 5 to 6 meters long.
我在的那个地方就是23个人在一个屋子里面。
The one that I was in had 23 people in it,
那个里面也有监控器。
and there were monitoring or surveillance cameras inside as well.
也是 Hikvision。
And they were also from Hikvision.
我们睡在那个地方，生活在那个地方，卫生间也在里面。
We sleep there. We do all of our all of our daily routines there. We went to the bathroom there.
就是吃那个大锅的饭，不像电视报道那样一个人一个套餐吃，不是，是大锅饭。
Unlike what was reported on TV, we did not get individual meals. We all had our meal in one big pot.
里面就是定期的抽血检查。
And routinely, they will take our blood to do blood tests.
还有一些发药让我们吃。
And they will also give us drugs to eat.
也是有茶一样的液体，就是让我们喝。
And they would also give us liquid for us to drink.
都是他们说就是抵抗，你们增加你们抵抗力的药，你们必须喝。
And they tell us that it was mandated because it was good for our immunity.
也是定期的，就是打一种的针，就是预防针。
And also routinely would give us mandated vaccinations.
也是说这个针就是增加你的抵抗力的针。
And also told us that it would be increasing it would increase our immunity.
我在那里面待了10个多月的时间。
I was there for a little over 10 months.
我也喝了药，吃了药，打了针。
I also ate the medications, drank the medications, and got all the injections.
也就顺便到外面做那个老河灯。
And was also sent to the tiger chairs.
老河灯是一般的，有外面有老河灯，它是一般的灯，但是里面也有老河灯，它是一间房子。
There are tiger chairs outside, and there are also tiger chairs inside the rooms as well.
那个进去房子以后，就是一排一排的老河灯。
When you walk into the room inside, there are rows and rows of tiger chairs.
一个老河灯是一个小小的一间房子，就是这么小的一个房子，一个老河灯。
In a small room, there would be one tiger chair.
它墙体是软的，你怎么撞怎么看都是软的，不受伤的那种，你声音听不到的。
The walls were all soft. No matter how much you hit it, no matter how much noise you make, the outside would not know.
它是有那种特殊的东西做的。
It was made of some kind of special material.
它门关上以后，什么声音你都听不到。
Once they closed the door, none of the noises inside would be heard outside.
我们也听不到，他们外面也听不到。
We couldn't hear the outside, and the outside couldn't hear us.
没有窗户，
There were no windows,
只有一个厚厚的门。
just a really thick door.
后来就结束了这个漫长的日子。
And that ended the long days that I spent inside.
18年的12月的17号晚上，
December 17, 2018, the night,
政府就偷偷的把我从教育中心拉出来，
the government officials secretly took me out of the concentration camp
把我外面那个衣服脱下来，
and changed me out of the clothing I was in
因为每一个人都有衣服，他们统一颁发的。
because everyone inside had a uniform that they all wore.
我脱下了那个衣服，
I took off that clothing,
然后他们给我发了一个空白的纸，什么都没有的空白的纸。
and they gave me a blank piece of paper. There was nothing written on there,
就上面签字，按手印。
and asked me to sign it and put my fingerprint on it.
然后我们签了很多，不是1、2张。
It wasn't just one or two, there were multiple papers that I signed.
也签了关于这个教育中心里面的事情要保密。
And also signed a confidentiality agreement that everything inside the camp had to be kept secret.
然后人睡觉的时候，晚上就送到了家。
and they sent me home the night of.
看到我叫我爱人，他们在家也在填那个表。
And when I went home and I saw that my wife was also signing and fingerprinting.
然后他们填完了，大概1个小时左右走了。
It was after about an hour, then they left.
第二天又过来了，
And on the second day, they came again.
我以为回家了全部结束了，
I thought that once I was home, everything would end.
但是重新开始在家软禁
But house arrest started again
8个月。
for 8 months.
我手上就是 GPS 手表，
I had to wear a GPS watch.
它是专用的钥匙，我是去不掉的。
There was a special lock on there, so I could not remove it.
他们可以看到它有电量有多少。
They could see how much battery was on there.
没有电了，他给我的爱人打电话，你要充电，这个
If there was no battery, they would call my wife and tell her that she needs to recharge it.
它是无线充电，
It's wireless charging.
他知道充好电还是没充好电，都知道一清二楚。
They would know whether it was recharged or not and how much battery was on there. They knew everything really clearly.
然后我出去就是也没有人身自由，
And when I went out, there was no personal freedom either.
出门在外每一个大门都有那个黑卫星那个摄像头，
When I went out, every corner had a Hikvision camera.
你必须经过它的下面才能出门。
You have to duck and go under it in order for it to not capture.
送孩子买东西都要从那个大门进去出去。
And that front door or front gate, every time I sent or bring my child home, I would need to pass that.
我每次送孩子或者是买生活的物品到外面出去进来，
Every time I send my kid to school or if I'm going out for grocery shopping, I need to pass that front gate.
都被当地的警察抓住，
And the officials would arrest me
因为这个人脸识别的那个系统，
because of the facial recognition system.
它输入了我的面孔，
It has my facial recognition on there.
我只要经过那个门儿，
As long as I pass that door,
不管是医院或者是什么地方，
it doesn't matter whether it was a hospital or other places,
他们都要警察过来，2分钟就抓到我。
they would come and arrest me within 2 minutes.
所以我知道它的牌子是什么牌子的摄像头。
So I know what brand those cameras were.
然后他们就让我参加那个强迫劳动，
And then they asked me to join forced labor
因为我出来身体很虚弱，走不了路，
because when I was out of the concentration camp, I was physically really weak and I couldn't even walk.
都是因为教育中心里面吃的药或是长时间不见太阳的影响。
Because of the medication that I was given in those concentration camps, as well as not being able to be in the sun.
都是我爱人帮我扶住我走，
So my wife had to support me on the side in order for me to walk.
因为身体不好，我没有参加那个强迫劳动。
Because my body was not in good condition, so I didn't have to participate in forced labor.
所以我看病到医院去也要抓，因
So-
为医院也有那个系统。
So even when I went to the hospital for medical checkups, they would still come and arrest me because of those facial recognition cameras.
所以他们说这个教育中心结束了，但是一点都没有人身的自由。
So even though my time at the concentration camp ended, I still did not have any type of individual freedom.
后来他们让我参加政治学习，因为我们出去在外教育中心出来的人，他必须一天参加政治的学习。
And later, they asked me to participate in political studies. Everyone that leaves from the camp need to participate in political studies.
就是恐吓的时候，我们就是你们没有未来的人，你们一点都没有未来的人，
And they would threaten us and tell us that we don't have a future.
你们是对国家和党有危险的人。
You all are people that are dangerous to the party and dangerous to the state.
你们的这个过去就是教育中心的 过去会影响你的下3代人。
Your experience or your history in those concentration camps are going to affect your next generations.
我听到这个很失望。
I was very disappointed when I heard that.
我们也被无辜地抓进去了，但是我们的下3代人也是这样对待。
We were innocently captured, but they even want to continue that persecution for the generations to come.
他们政治学习的时候就是很公开的就说你们就是这样的。
And in those political studies, they would very outrightly tell us those things, that these are the people that you are.
听到我这个很害怕，我下3代人已经没有未来。
After hearing that, I was very scared because the generations after me to come will not have a future.
而且政府的人没有帮助我们，还有恐吓的说你们3代没有未来。
And the government did not even want to help us, but instead wanted to threaten us to tell me and tell all of us that the future generations to come will not have a future.
还有每一个家庭有3个类型，3种的家庭，
And they categorized the households into 3 types.
就是放心的家庭、
The assured households,
危险的家庭，
the dangerous households,
还有重点
and the
关注
key
的家庭。
and the key households, key concerned households.
但是他不会告诉你你属于哪一种家庭，
But they wouldn't tell you which household you belong in.
这个是很没有道理的。
And this is just absurd.
后来我们2019年了，
And in 2019,
我还在家里软禁。
I was still under house arrest.
这个 GPS 手表6个月的时候，他们过来拿钥匙去掉了。
And after 6 months, they came and took the lock off my watch, the GPS watch.
但是他们还是不让我用手机，
But they still wouldn't let me use phones
也不让我用那个交通工具，
or transportation.
开车、骑摩托车都不行。
I can't drive a car. I can't ride a motorcycle. None of that was allowed.
后来我们问了，为什么我走不了路，我必须要骑摩托车过去办事。
I couldn't really walk properly, so I had to take the motorcycle in order for me to do different things.
后来我知道他们害怕我们骑摩托车撞他们，
And after that, I found out that it was because they were afraid that we will ride the motorcycles to hit them.
是这样子的。
And that's how it was.
后来感谢上帝，我们很成功的离开中国。19年的7月29号。
And in in July 29th, 2019, thank God that we were able to leave China successfully.
因为我爱人是国外的，
Because my wife is a foreigner,
他们就主动给我护照，
they gave me a passport
你可以出去看你的国外的家人。
and said that I could leave the country to see my family abroad.
但是有一个条件，你必须30天之内回来。
But under one condition, which was that I should return back home within 30 days.
然后也签了有些合同，就是保密的合同，
And also signed confidentiality agreements.
就离开了中国。
And I was able to leave China.
到了中国，到了吉尔吉斯斯坦是我爱人的家乡。
I arrived in Kyrgyzstan, that's where my wife is from.
因为我身体还是很虚弱，
Because my body was still really weak.
出来将近可能快1年了，但是我到吉尔吉斯斯坦来还是走路，还是300米，不会到500米，我必须要坐下来休息。
Even after a year out of the concentration camp, even in Kyrgyzstan, I was still unable to walk properly, even for about 300 to 500 meters.
所以我们在那边看病。
So I went for medical checkup.
那个时候我们也收到手机微信，就是让我们回来。
And at that time, we received WeChat messages asking us to return back to China.
就说因为身体的原因我在看病，所以我30天回不了。
And I told them that I could not go back within 30 days because of how weak I was physically.
后来就疫情开始了，他们也不让我回去的这个消息。
And then the pandemic started, so I wasn't able to go back.
但是他们换了另一个方式，就是中国驻吉尔吉斯坦的大使馆开始找我。
But they started to use another method, and it was through the Chinese embassy that was stationed in Kyrgyzstan.
也是不要让我申请吉尔吉斯坦的这个国籍。
And they did not want me to apply for Kyrgyzstan's citizenship.
也要回去到中国去，把中国的户籍消除掉。
And that I had to go back to China and remove my household registration in China.
然后可以回到吉尔吉斯。
And then I can go back to Kyrgyzstan.
这个不可能，我好不容易出来，我到中国去很危险。
That's impossible. It was so difficult for me to leave, and it's going to be difficult for me to go back.
所以没有回。
So I did not go back.
后来我的中国的银行卡被冻结了。
And after that, my Chinese bank accounts were frozen.
可以取钱，银行卡取不了钱。
And I could no longer withdraw money from those accounts.
然后我感觉到这个也很危险。
And I began to sense that this was dangerous.
后来有理由就考虑离开这个吉尔吉斯坦。
And this, after several reasons, we think that it was best for us to leave Kyrgyzstan as well.
那怎么离开？这是一个大问题。
But the big question was, how are we going to leave Kyrgyzstan?
因为我们少数民族不能到第三个国家。
Because we're ethnic minorities, so we can't go to a third country.
中国第一，吉尔吉斯坦是第二，已经不行离开。
China was the first country, Kyrgyzstan was the second country, so we could not leave.
如果有离开的，他们可能有协议或者什么回事，他中间人就丢了。
For those that left, they either had some kind of agreement or they just disappeared.
后来我们就联系到作家 Ethan。
And later we were able to come in contact with Ethan, who is a writer.
他联系到这个美国政府的 Connor。
And Ethan got in touch with Connor from the U.S. government.
也是 ChinaAid 的副牧师。
And as well as Pastor Fu from ChinaAid.
有了他们的帮助，我们成功的离开了吉尔吉斯坦到土耳其。
With all of their help, we were able to leave Kyrgyzstan and went to Turkey.
在土耳其等美国政府的允许。
And we were in Turkey waiting for the approval from the U.S. government.
等到2022年的4月。
And in April of 2020,
就离开了土耳其到美国。
we left from Turkey and arrived in the United States.
所以我通过这次的机会，
So through this opportunity,
感谢帮助我的个人，
I would like to express my gratitude to individuals,
机构、
organizations,
美国政府，
the U.S. government,
感谢他们。
for allowing me to be here.
到了美国本土，
After arriving in the U.S.,
美国政府也很热烈的欢迎了我们，
we received a passionate welcome from the U.S. government,
专门的人过来接我们。
and there were U.S. officials that came and welcomed us.
感谢他们的安排。
I would like to express my gratitude to them as well.
谢谢你们的关注。
Thank you all for your concern.